Okay, so let's go over starter practice with the production possibilities curve. Just as the directions say, we are going to label the capital goods on the y-axis and the consumer goods on the x. We're going to assume that the nation is fully employed and producing an equal amount of capital and consumer goods. We're going to label that as point A. So for the most part, your point A should be about in the middle of each of your graphs. So with point B, in number one, we're going to indicate what will happen if Eagle Land's businesses produce more consumer goods. So there's nothing here about the land, labor, and capital not being utilized as fully as it was before. So we're going to assume that we're still fully employed. We're going to draw an arrow and we're going to put the new point B just to the right, closer to the consumer goods. We wouldn't put it all the way down because we're not getting any information to support that they're producing all consumer goods and no capital, just that we're going to move closer to the consumer. For number two, we have something that's a little bit different. We have the production possibilities curve reflecting if the nation's population migrates out of Eagle Land into a more politically stable nation. So if you think about your three productive resources, your land, your labor, and your capital, if one of those disappears, your labor, or declines, then you can't produce as much as you had before. So your production possibilities curve would shrink or be smaller. And some of you were really keen and you noticed that it just said the nation's population and you brought it all the way down to zero. And part of me feels like, oh, I didn't even think of that. So I don't think that that's incorrect. It wasn't what I was envisioning. My prompt should be rewritten, and I should say something like a portion of, because I wasn't really looking for you to make the production go away entirely. Just the fact that we would be shrinking this production possibilities curve and making it smaller to reflect, yeah, they're still fully employed, but they're making fewer of both goods. For number three, with point B, we're going to indicate what will happen to Eagle Land if consumers spend less money, resulting in increased levels of unemployment. So the key here is that the production possibilities curve is about production, not consumption. Obviously, consumption impacts whether or not people produce, right? So if a business is not getting as much revenue, they don't have money to put into their land, labor, and capital, thus they won't use as much. So be careful about phrasing your answer only in terms of the consumption. You want to go back to that concept of land, labor, and capital, and the fact that if businesses have less revenue, they're not going to have as many workers. Because they don't have as many workers or revenue coming in, they're not going to use as much natural resources or land, and they're not going to use as much capital. So they have these three things, they're just not utilizing them. And I really, really would love your explanations to have something about the fact that these resources exist, but they're not being utilized. For number four, what will happen if the nation develops new technology that leads to new employment opportunities? So the words new technology and new employment were key words into this scenario. Whenever you have a country that develops new technology that's going to provide new sources of productive resources, so your land, labor, and capital, it's not that it existed and it wasn't being utilized like in number three. It's that these resources weren't even a factor in the labor force or in the production possibilities before. So there's a discovery of a new resource, or there's a new technology that needs resources, or people are entering the workforce that had never even been in the workforce before. And I feel like you can use some events from your US history knowledge to, sort of employ here as you think about, oh, like massive immigration during the 1800s to the US, or the invention of electricity, or, the invention of the computer. Like all of those things led to a greater production capacity in the United States. And that's when you would see the whole PPC shifting to the right. So one of the things I wanted to do with number four is to just demonstrate to you something that is also possible and is similar to this concept, but not the same thing. So I'm going to use this same PPC just to illustrate this. So there is another concept that looks kind of similar to this graphically, but it's not the same. And it's something called excess capacity. And it's where you could have a point like point B hovering and floating outside of the production possibilities curve. There's no line on this. So again, that's called, and let me just write this down for you, excess capacity. And, I gave you all a video to watch from Mr. Clifford about shifting the PPC. You might want to go back and look at that because that's really what number 4 is about. But rather, excess capacity is a different concept, and it's about something that you'll learn more about as we learn in the class, something called the long run. And it's something that's not sustainable in the long run. And I'll explain to you why. So a country can produce beyond its production capacity with one or a combination of these two things. So the first thing is specialization. And you have a hint of this when you were looking at comparative and absolute advantage. Rather than have one person do all of the things, you take all of the tasks and you have people or industries specialize in those, and therefore they can crank out a little more production because they get better at that skill and they can do more with the same amount of resources. Um, that's not sustainable in the long run, mainly because it's tough on worker morale, resources get exhausted, and people start to, the quality may not always be reliable in the long run. The next thing also has to do with comparative and absolute advantage. It's about trade. Okay, so think about international trade. Uh, think about all of the businesses in the United States that subsist because they use coffee. So, coffee is a resource that is not native to the United States, with the exception of Hawaii. So, Starbucks and Dunkin' Donuts are arguably two of the biggest fast food corporations in the country, let alone, uh, you know, industries like them. Without importing coffee beans into the US, those two businesses wouldn't exist. So, in order to produce beyond our domestic production possibilities, which is what this graph shows, we can produce more than we actually can within our borders if we import resources that aren't available to us. So those are the two ways that you can get to excess capacity. And again, it's really hard to sustain in the long run because you eventually have to create the infrastructure around the production of that good. So getting the technology that's necessary, getting the amount of workers that is necessary to do that in the long run. So it's how long run economic growth can be initiated. So it's not like getting to excess capacity is a fool's errand and you'll never make it work. It's just that it's sort of sometimes the start of getting to long run economic growth, but it's really hard to achieve. And sometimes we just bounce right back to where we started. And that's a concept that we'll do later in the course, but I wanted to bring it up because it's important. And then the last thing is that you didn't really have to do any graphing, just sort of think about this concept of why production possibilities curves can sometimes be flat as opposed to bowed out. And many of you wrote about the constant opportunity costs, but I also want you to think about the fact that the resources, the land, labor, and capital, are perfectly interchangeable. And that is vocabulary that the College Board uses a lot to refer to these types of resources. So that is the production possibilities curve starter practice. It's certainly not everything you can do with the PPC, but it's basically where I would hope you'd be able to go with it at this point.